Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2, who on this occasion will present a material about perfect competition part 2.
For this first material, which is about zero profit in the long run, will be presented by me. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Weda Romiyati, number 5. Zero economic profit is a condition in which price P in a company is in line with the point MC which cuts AC at the minimum point. Whereas zero profit in the long run is a condition where a company experiences a change in supply due to an expansion of production and or the entry of other companies into the market. One of the characteristics of perfectly competitive market is that the market price is formed from the supply and demand curve. From the demand and supply curve, a market equilibrium is formed where the price is $12 and the quantity is Q1. From the price formed in the market, we can draw a straight line into demand in a company so that P equal AR equal MR equal G. While the supply curve in the market, when we move to the company, a marginal cost curve is formed. When the average cost that the company paid to produce Q1 is along the AC curve, then as the general formula that the MC curve will cut AC at the minimum point. The intersection of this curve lies at the price of $8, so that the difference between the cost incurred and the selling price in the market can be called as profit. If in the short term the profit is good, it will invite many companies to join the market, so that in the long run the supply curve will increase, namely point S shift to S1 with constant demand. The shift of the supply curve will form a new price in the market, namely $8, in which case the market price is equal to the average cost of production so that the company does not get a profit or loss or it's called zero profit in the long run. A situation where more and more companies enter the market or companies that continue to expand production despite constant demand so that the S1 curve will shift right again to S2. And from a new equilibrium price of $6. The difference between the average cost incurred $8 and the market price $6 is called a loss. There are two possibilities. If the company's loss, that is, over time it will leave the market or it will continue to produce as long as the price is not lower than AVC, because if the price is lower than AVC, then the company shall close its business. The point at which the company closes its business, or when the price is less than the same as AVC, is called the shutdown point. The next material will be delivered by Wahyu Fitriasari.
Hi everyone! Before I presented the material of the next slide, let me introduce myself. My name is Wahyu Fitriasari from class 2 with student number 198042411008. Okay, let's begin.
Welfare of producer. Producer surplus is the additional private benefit to producers in terms of profit gained when the price they receive in the market is more than the minimum they would be prepared to supply for. In the other words, they received a reward that more than covers their cost of production. Producer surplus shown by area above the supply curve and below the market price. Higher price provide an incentive to supply more to the market. So, producer surplus is total revenue minus total cost. The size of the producer surplus and its triangular depiction on the graph increases as the market price for the good increases. and decreases as the market price for the good decreases. Producers will not sell product if they could not get at least the marginal cost to produce those products. The supply curve as depicted in the graph above represents the marginal cost curve for the producer. Producer surplus and change in market price. The level of producer surplus changes as the market price for a good or service changes. Lower supply costs cause the market price to fall. Producer surplus rises from area ADB to area FEC. An increase in market demand leads to a higher price and a rise in producer surplus from area ABC to DEC.
That's all from me. Next slide will be presented by my friends.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I present the material, I will introduce myself. My name is Annisa Fikri Sofia and my study number is 10. I will explain about welfare of consumer and impact of government policy about tax. First, I will explain about consumer welfare. According to OECD, or Organization for Cooperation and Development, one of intergovernmental economic organization, consumer welfare refers to the individual benefit derived from the consumption of goods and services. In theory, individuals' own assessment of his or her satisfaction given prices and income. Exact measurement of consumer welfare therefore require information about individual preference. In practice, applied welfare economics use the notion of consumer surplus to measure consumer welfare. When measured overall consumer surplus is a measure of aggregate consumer welfare. Now take a look at welfare of consumer concept. Economists use surplus to mean welfare. Perfect competition produces an equilibrium in which the price and the quantity of a goods is economically efficient. So this is hourly perfect competitive market graph. The area below the demand curve and above the market price is consumer surplus. And we see that the area that was shaded in green is known as consumer welfare or consumer surplus. Let's first look at the consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is the difference between the price a consumer is willing to pay and the price that they actually have to pay in the market. So the example, when I have an idea in my mind of a price that I will pay to buy something, and when I get there in the store, and I look at the price tag and the price is lower, so I have consumer surplus or consumer welfare. If we think about demand curve as all the price and quantities that people are willing to buy at every single price, we see that above the equilibrium price, there were quantities that would have been bought if the price were higher. But these people didn't have to pay that higher price. Instead, they paid the market price. This gave the consumer surplus or welfare of consumer to they are. The next material is government policy. I will explain about impact of government policy tax. So right here, the graph have the supply and demand, and the equilibrium is on B. That would cause a supply curve to shift to the left. As you can see, the price that consumer pay is now in PA. Because of direct taxes, this reduced demand from the D to D apostrophe and shift the equilibrium from KO to KA, and the price is shifting to from PO to PA. The tax that received by the government is from PA to PB. DWL or deed-wide loss arises too because of a share that producer, consumer, and the government don't receive by imposing taxes. And the next one is about producer tax. When the government applies a producer tax, this makes some impact, such as, firstly, is lowering the level of production. This shown by S shifting to S apostrophe. The second impact was the market price is rises. This is proven by shifting from PO to PA. The third impact is the decreases the equilibrium quantity. This proven by shifting from KO to KA. Fourthly, in this graph showing us about government income from taxes that shown in PB. PB is price received by producer until PA. PA is consumer purchase price. And the last one in this case, DWL not received by producer, consumers, and the government. Okay, that's all from me. The next slide will presented by my friend Utami that explain about price control.
Hello, let me introduce myself before I present the material on the next slide. My name is Utami from Economic Education U19 and my study number is 16.
The next government policy about price control. In free condition, free, where the system has no policies and market forces determined by the power supply and demand at a condition of price equilibrium and quantity. The balance that occurs might be efficient, but it cannot satisfy all economic agents. That's why price control is required. The government believes that the price market that's going on for commodities certain is unfair to buyer nor the seller. So that resulted, the government implements policies such as price ceiling and price floor. Then, what is price ceiling and price floor? Price ceiling is the mandated maximum amount a seller is allowed to charge for a product or service. Usually set by law, price ceilings are typically applied only to staples such as food and energy products when such goods become unaffordable to regular consumer. Some areas have rent ceiling to protect renters from rapidly climbing rates on residents. Then, price floor is a regulatory tool used by the government. More specifically, it is defined as an intervention to raise market price if the government feels the price is too low. In this case, since the new price is higher, the producer benefit. For a price floor to be effective, the minimum price has to be higher than the equilibrium price.
In slide already present a graphic about price ceiling. Initially, the market price was formed at $3. Then, when the government set the highest retail price or maximum price at $2, producer can no longer sell their product at the market price level $3. Then, the difference between the level of demand, which is higher than the level of supply, is known as shortage or surplus demand. Shortage occurs when quantity demand is 125 and quantity supply is 75. This situation can cause some producers to be eliminated from the market so that the number of goods offered decreases. Meanwhile, consumers can now buy the product at a lower price, increasing the quantity of goods demanded. As a result of these two actions, the market experiences shortage or excess amount of demand. The excess quantity of demand can be overcome by increasing supply. The excess amount of demand of 50 units was overcome by increasing supply in the market, so that the supply curve shifts to right as to S2. Additional supply can come from 1. Take out the inventory in the warehouse. 2. Import goods from other regions. 3. Import of the goods concerned. The increase in supply aims to prevent black market practice. The next material will be delivered by my friend, namely Alifia Friska. Enjoy watching!
Hello everyone! First, let me introduce myself before we continue the next material on the next slide. My name is Alifia Friska from class U with name 23.
Okay, now we will discuss about price floor. On this slide, there is a curve that will illustrate to all of you about the price floor mechanism. On that curve, the market price was formed at P 3 US dollar. We already know that the market price occurs because of the power between supply and demand. Then, when the government set minimum price or price floor at P for US dollar, consumers can no longer buy goods at the market price level 3 US dollar again. Meanwhile, producers can now sell their product at a higher price, so these producers can increase their supply. As a result of these two actions, the market will have an excess amount of the goods over, or we can call it as a surplus, which on the curve, a surplus occurs when quantity demand is 80 and quantity of supply is 120, so that the excess supply is 40 units. The excess amount of supply can be overcome by purchasing excess production and or providing subsidies from the government. Next, as explained in the previous slide, the excess supply can be overcome by purchasing excess production. The excess number of goods over as many as 40 units were overcome by the government buying excess production in the market. 40 units are obtained from the difference between key D or quantity of demand and key S or quantity of supply. As a result, the demand curve shifts to the right, from D to D2, so that now there is no surplus again. The government purchases excess production through 1. Purchases to store in the warehouse, 2. Transferring the excess to other area, 3. Exporting the goods concerned. And the last, price floor stabilization by providing subsidies to producers. In this policy, the government doesn't determine the market price, but the government determines the guarantee price or subsidy that producer will receive for each unit of their product. The amount of subsidy given to each unit of production is as much as the difference between the guarantee price or subsidy and the market price. Initially, the market price was formed at $3. But the government considers that the price level $3 to be detrimental to producer. So the government sets the guarantee price at the level of P for $. Due to the high guarantee price, the supply curve shifts from S to S2. As a result, the equilibrium price falls from A to A1. Why is the curve vertical? Because it has a perfectly inelastic supply, where the supply is zero because it has received subsidies from the government. And because consumers are aware of subsidies, consumers want the price to be $2. So, the current market price is $2. However, the income received by producer is P for $, per unit of output. The revenue is generated from the market of $2 multiplied by 120 units. And from government subsidy, income, which is the difference between the guarantee price or subsidy and the market price per unit, with the calculation for $, minus $2 multiplied by 120 units. So the conclusion is consumers will still pay $2 and producers will get $4 because they get subsidies from the government.
News analysis. Our group has attached the news regarding the perfect competition market as follows. The news are from Bangka Post, Friday, August 21, 2020. So, the news that we analyzed related to chili product with problems, increasing chili price due to storage of stock from Bangka. And the solution that our group got is to deal with this problem, began implementing a comprehensive management system such as a warehouse management system that can help to attain better visibility. Furthermore, calculate the number of products and always have a backup product ready every month. This product backup will help us when something goes wrong.
So that's all the material we can convey. If there is an error in the delivery of the material, we apologize. And if anyone wants to ask a question, we are welcome to write a comment on the Facebook post Microeconomics II. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.